Hi, Dad. Welcome back to another episode of Dave and Andy's Honest About Life. This is going to be a really big, heavy subject, I think, and we don't have a ton of time, but certainly not enough time to answer this question.
I've been worrying about this one because you brought it up in the last episode. So this
Good,
is a this is a
good,
tough one.
good. And I mean it, and I know it's tough, and I don't think any answer is right or wrong. I really don't. And for everybody, it's different. And so, for a son to be able to ask a dad this question is a really big deal. And so the question we're talking about is what is the meaning of life? And so I ended with what's the meaning of life for you in particular, Dad, not necessarily for everybody, because obviously everybody's going to have their own meaning. And maybe the point is we never really know what the answer is or should be. But can you answer what it is for you? And I'm putting you on the spot, I can tell.
Yeah. Let me go change my pants here. Andy, obviously it's a deep question. I'm a religious guy. I believe in God. I believe in my Lord and Savior, and you can take that for what it's worth. But I think the meaning of my life goes through that, goes through what I believe in is a bigger power. And I believe that meaning of life has something to do with your relationship with your God or your higher power, your leader. And that's a question that has to be answered by each and every one of us, and each and every individual. And each and every individual, I'm sure, is different. It's a different answer. And that's what makes our world such a wonderful place. And that's what makes humanity wonderful, is that we do have different answers for that question. And I just love the way we can kind of tackle that question in each of our own lives. And we can spread it around or we can keep it to ourselves. It's just what we want to get out of our life and what we think we should give from our life. And it has to do with the family unit. It has to do with your friendship unit. It has to do with the world as a unit. You know what I mean?
I do. Has it changed for you over time? I mean, has it always been crystal clear to you what the meaning of life is?
No, and I still don't think it's crystal clear for me. In my mind, I want to be headed toward happiness. I always want to be happy. And I think that meaning of life has changed as my life has changed, but it still has the basis of I want to know, what kind of an impact I'm having in life.
So, do you measure then your life based on the impact that you're having? So, on the impact that you have on your children, the impact that you have on your neighbors, the impact that you have on your significant other. How do you align your routine with that belief
Yeah,
about
that's a
what is?
good question. I don't want to base my life on my impact on others, and it may sound a little selfish, but I want to base my life on impact on me, if that makes sense. I do see the effects that I have on other people every day as I meet and talk to people. I think it's just that's a very deep thing that we do want to impact those around us, but is that what we should base our life and our happiness on, or whether or not we're accomplishing anything is based on what our impact is on others? No, because I want, yeah, this is so tough. I want to be a good impact on others. I want to be a good example. But yet I shouldn't base my happiness on whether or not I've made somebody else happy. You know what I mean?
I do. I mean, it could be exhausting, right? To
Yeah,
try to make everybody happy. I mean, it can
you
be,
can't.
you can't, and I don't know that anybody would suggest it's a good thing. You know, there's, when you think about leadership in a company, you think about those who have had success, and versus those who have struggled. And you hear a lot about humble servant leadership from the top, you know, sort of the higher you get in an organization, the more you should spend your time supporting those, you know, whose ranks are a little bit below yours, or maybe a lot below yours, but you should really be there to support them. And so, would you agree that that's a good approach to life, is humble servant leadership?
I think that is a very good way to look at life. Um, you know, I don't think we should base our success in life on that, but I do think it's a very good way to live your life is be humble. And if you know that you can help somebody, help them, you know, and um, that impact should be a daily thing, I think.
Yeah, you know, you've always been someone who is willing to lend a hand. You know, if somebody is stuck in a ditch, you'd be one of those that would pull over and help them out. You know, even if you didn't have a vehicle or a tow rope, you'd be pushing their car. You know, I could think of examples like that where you know, you'd be willing to lend a helping hand in cases like that. So, you know, you think
I
about,
hope I hope that's the case, and I think you are like that to the T. And I know several people that are in my life that would take the shirt off their back. You hear that all the time. They take the shirt off the back for you, and those people are amazing. And I you know I can name a few, but I don't know that I want
no,
to at this point.
I think that's it's isn't that interesting though, as we think about you know, in some of these conversations we've had, we've talked about, you know, what we remember, what's easier to remember, what we can't forget, what we should forget. But for whatever reason, the people that have been super helpful in our lives, or you've seen them through in acts of kindness and supportiveness, those are the ones we remember. And so really they come back to, or we come back to, impact on others as being memorable. You know, to see someone doing something so helpful and kind and generous is, I mean, it's odd because we try not, you know, it's one thing to remember a negative experience we've had, it's another thing to forget someone who had a negative impact on your life. And we do, we for whatever reason we forget about those people, but we don't forget about the negative uh, you know, thing that we had done. So it's this odd. I hope you can follow me on this, but
I do. That is
you
very
know,
interesting that we do tend to forget the negatives that other people have played in our lives, whereas we don't
don't
forget the
forget our own.
negatives in our own life. That's a
Yeah,
very, and you know, the people that do um, help others are very memorable. They're very memorable people, and I think that helps in our positive growth. Remembering those people that are helping at a drop of a hat and would, you know, help somebody that ran into the ditch, you know.
agreed. Agreed. Well, Dad, this has been a wonderful conversation. You know, it's the kind of conversation I think, you know, all kids would love to have with their parents. So I'm so grateful that you take the time to have this conversation with me. I really am.
I'm very grateful for you, Andy, and I'm blessed. I've been blessed many times in my life, but you're a very good example of a good guy.
Well, thank you, Dad. You know, let's talk next time about, you know, what are we longing for? What are sort of, how do we find contentment, and maybe the role of investing early, and a number of other things that we would do early to improve our chances for finding contentment later in life. If you don't mind, if we could talk about those kinds of things next time, that'd be wonderful.
That would be great, buddy. Looking forward to it.
I am too, Dad. All right. I love you very much. We'll talk to you
Love
soon.
you. See you later, pal.
Bye.